Why do some people exude peace and purpose while others feel stuck in routine? The difference lies in alignment. Those who thrive have learned to match their daily actions with their core values. This simple shift transforms ordinary days into meaningful ones, creating a life that feels authentic, focused, and deeply fulfilling. In just a few moments, I will teach you how to live better through mindset shifts, habits, and purposeful daily actions. 1. You must know what you want. You were born with a mind of extraordinary power, the kind that can shape the world, create opportunity, and carve meaning out of chaos. But that power does not awaken on its own. It waits, quiet and unused, until it is summoned by clarity. Every day, people go about their lives fulfilling roles, completing tasks, and chasing the approval of others. Yet so few pause to ask themselves one vital question. What do I truly want from this life? Not a fleeting hope or a vague intention, but a clear, burning purpose. One that lives in the very core of your being. Without that purpose, most people drift. They respond to life instead of shaping it, move without direction, and hope that something meaningful will eventually emerge from the blur of activity. But hope alone is not a strategy. The truth is, the world does not reward you simply for being busy. It rewards you for knowing where you're going. The person with direction walks with a different kind of confidence. Their steps are purposeful. Their choices are deliberate, and when obstacles appear, as they always do, they don't flinch because they know what they're fighting for. If you don't take ownership of your time, your energy, your goals, someone else will. The world is full of distractions and voices ready to tell you what to do, how to live, what to chase. But none of them can tell you what will bring you true fulfillment. That answer lies within, waiting for your attention. And it begins not with action, but with intention. You must decide, not later, not when everything aligns perfectly, but now. You don't need the ideal moment. You need a committed mind. Write it down. Speak it aloud. See it in your imagination. Clarity begins in the mind and then flows into every aspect of your life. When you know where you're going, the path becomes clearer, not easier, but navigable. The fog lifts. You stop reacting to life and start building it. Each day becomes a step, each challenge a test of how much you want what you claimed. And it is in that pursuit, not in reaching the end, that greatness is forged. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a reason that pulls you forward, not just to get through the day, not just to fulfill expectations, but to move one step closer to a vision that excites you. Imagine the strength that comes from knowing your time is being used to build something that matters to you. You're not just earning wages, you're laying the bricks of your future. You're not just meeting deadlines, you're writing a legacy. This is the power of purpose. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. So ask yourself now, and answer honestly, if you don't choose your path, who will? If you don't define your future, what are you leaving to chance that should be in your hands? Life will not wait for you to decide. It moves forward regardless. But you can choose to move with it, with purpose, with fire, with conviction. Don't settle for what appears. Decide what must be. Name it. Claim it, because the moment you do, you begin the transformation. You awaken the power that has always lived within you, and with direction, you no longer just exist, you create. 2, you must act in spite of difficulty. Every mountain worth reaching is layered with challenge. Its slopes jagged with stone, its surface slick with ice, its air thin and biting. No easy road leads to a summit that changes you. The higher the destination, the harsher the climb. If you've known days where your muscles failed you, where your heart questioned the journey, where your dreams were mocked or ignored, then you are not alone. These trials aren't detours. They're signs that you're on a real path, one that demands more and offers more in return. The very fact that you're still standing, still trying, still reaching despite it all, marks you as someone headed for something extraordinary. Most turn back at the first sight of difficulty. The moment resistance appears, they assume it's a signal to stop. But you must understand, resistance is the gatekeeper of worth. A diamond is not born from comfort. It's forged through relentless pressure. Gold earns its brilliance only after enduring the fire. In the human spirit, it doesn't reveal its true strength until it has been stretched, tested, and pushed to the brink. When you continue in the face of hardship, when you keep your eyes on the vision, even as the wind howls and the path narrows, you become something greater. You evolve. Elizabeth, are you obligated to share the rejection will come? So will delay, disappointment, and doubt. But these are not signs you should give up. They are proof that your dream is big enough to resist. Every great pursuit provokes challenge. That's how you know it matters. If no one questions your ambition, maybe it isn't daring enough. If you never feel discomfort, maybe you're not aiming high enough. Struggle isn't the enemy. It's the necessary pressure that brings transformation. When things go wrong, it's not the end. It's an invitation to deepen your resolve and rise higher than before. Ask yourself now, if everything you wanted came easily, would it mean the same? Would you respect the journey if you never had to earn a single step? Ease is deceptive. It robs meaning, but hardship, though painful, gives weight to every victory. When you knock on doors that don't open, when you fall and rise again, you are shaping yourself into someone who can not only handle success, but sustain it. Picture yourself in the middle of a storm, setbacks pounding at your confidence. Instead of retreating, imagine you step forward, not carelessly, not blindly, but with purpose. You take the pain and turn it into patience. You take the failure and mold it into focus. Like a craftsman who knows every tool has value, you learn to use even adversity to build what you envision. This is where greatness is made, not in comfort, but in courage. So do you give up because it's hard, or do you grow because it's hard? What if you chose not to retreat, no matter how long the road? What if, instead of asking how much you can take, you asked how far you're willing to go? The truth is, greatness has less to do with talent than it does with endurance. It is built not just by those who begin, but by those who continue, especially when continuing feels impossible. Keep walking through the fog, through the doubt, through the moments when you feel unseen and unheard. The climb is steep, yes, but the view from the top, it's unlike anything you've ever known, and it belongs to those who refuse to quit. 3, you must guard your thoughts. Your mind is the only territory over which you have complete and unchallenged rule, not the shifting moods of the world, not the reactions of others, not the roll of the dice that life so often feels like, but your thoughts, your inner voice, your mental landscape. These are yours and yours alone. That may seem like a simple truth, but it holds the foundation of your entire life. Within the space of your own mind lie the seeds of your future, whether it blooms with success or withers in defeat. What unfolds in your external world is merely a reflection of what you've allowed to grow inside you. A mind filled with fear becomes a life ruled by hesitation. A heart tangled in doubt breeds indecision and missed chances. Anger inside becomes conflict outside. But equally powerful are belief, optimism, and resolve. These two begin quietly in thought, and from them springs courage, persistence, and eventual triumph. You do not shape your life by chance. You shape it by the thoughts you permit to take root. Yet most people let their minds remain unguarded, wide open to every passing voice. They absorb negativity from conversations, accept discouragement from headlines, and let the pessimism of others paint their own outlook. They forget that the mind is sacred ground, not a public square where every opinion is welcome. If you allow every thought entry, good or bad, you will end up with a life built by accident instead of intention. So let me ask you, what are you letting live in your mind every day? What messages repeat behind your eyes when the world is silent? Do you speak to yourself with encouragement, or do you echo every criticism you've ever heard? Because that inner dialogue matters more than anything anyone else could say. It is the script you're rehearsing for the life you're building. Picture your mind as a garden. Would you allow weeds to strangle your most promising growth? Would you scatter seeds of doubt and expect a harvest of confidence? Of course not. And yet, that's what happens when you entertain negative, destructive, or passive thoughts and hope for a positive outcome. The law of the mind is as real as gravity. You reap what you sow. You become what you dwell on. Not what you think about once in a while, not what passes through your head during moments of inspiration, but what you consistently entertain, what you feed, nurture, and believe. Your dominant thoughts form the blueprint for your behavior, your mood, your decisions. And the beautiful truth is this: you get to choose. You decide which thoughts stay and which are shown the door. You choose the neighborhood of your mind, whether it's one of strength and ambition or one filled with fear and regret. So why repeat the same tired doubts that have never once helped you? Why allow yourself to consume thought after thought that leaves you weaker instead of stronger? Your mind is hungry for purpose, meaning, and direction, so feed it accordingly. Treat your thoughts not as background noise, but as the architects of your future. Master your thoughts, and you master your life. That isn't poetic, it's practical. If you train your mind toward belief, you'll act with more courage. If you flood it with discipline, you'll move with greater intention. And if you fill it with purpose, your entire life will follow suit. Control the battlefield of your mind and watch how quickly the rest of your world comes under your command. 4, you must surround yourself with purposeful people. No one climbs to greatness entirely alone. Behind every extraordinary achievement stands not just the strength of a single person, but the silent, steady presence of others who lifted, supported, challenged, and believed. Success, though deeply personal, is never purely individual. You rise highest not in solitude, but through alliance, with those whose energy fuels your own, whose vision sharpens your purpose, whose courage steadies your doubt. The company you keep is more than background noise to your life. It is the atmosphere in which your potential either breathes or suffocates. Surround yourself with the right people and you begin to see the world through new eyes. Spend time with visionaries and you'll find your own dreams expanding. Walk alongside the bold and your courage begins to grow. Speak daily with those who hunger for meaning and your own actions begin to reflect greater purpose. But choose poorly. Spend your hours with the bitter, the aimless, the small-hearted, and soon, without even noticing, your own steps will falter. Your energy will dim. Your ambition will settle. This is not about popularity or numbers. It is not about crowds, noise, or being seen. It's about a circle. A small, deliberate group of people who carry your values in their bones. People who lift as they climb. People who call out your strength when you forget it. People who remind you what you're capable of becoming, even on the days you doubt yourself the most. One true voice of encouragement outweighs a dozen critics. So ask yourself honestly, who are you allowing into your life's inner room? Who hears your thoughts, your worries, your hopes? Who has influence over your decisions? Are they building you or breaking you? Are their words laced with purpose or with defeat? Are they reaching for something higher or pulling everything down to the level of their fear? Now picture this, waking up every day and stepping into an environment where everyone is moving forward, each person reaching for something noble, honest, and bold, where conversations are about growth, not gossip, where failure is not mocked but mined for lessons. This is not an unrealistic dream. It is a decision. A series of choices to be intentional about the voices you allow around you and the energies you let shape your path, but beware. This path will demand you let go of what no longer serves your rise. You cannot soar with eagles while nesting with turkeys. It may feel uncomfortable, even painful, to step away from people you've known for years, but growth often means shedding. It is not cruelty to distance yourself from those who anchor you to smaller visions. It is your responsibility. Loyalty to your future must sometimes outweigh loyalty to your past. The truth is, we all need sharpening. We all need mirrors who reflect back not just who we are, but who we could be. The people around you matter. They shape your standards, your pace, your belief in what's possible. So who is sharpening your mind right now? Who is pushing you to expand, to stretch, to show up fully? Who is reminding you with their words and their lives that you are capable of more? Greatness is not a solo performance. It's a symphony. And you rise faster, stronger, and with more joy when you are surrounded by those who are also rising. Choose your company like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. 5, you must take full responsibility. There will always be a reason to stall, to explain away failure, to justify staying where you are. The economy may be struggling. Your upbringing may have been difficult. A manager may have overlooked your worth. An opportunity you hoped for may have passed you by. These things are real and they hurt, but none of them can build the life you want. Not one of them, no matter how true, will deliver the future you dream of. Because success cannot grow on the ground of blame. It demands a different soil, one rich in responsibility, ownership, and resolve. The moment everything begins to shift is the moment you say, without hesitation, "This is mine to change." That sentence contains a kind of power no hardship, no betrayal, no injustice can take from you. Real freedom doesn't arrive by accident, and it is never handed over willingly. It is seized, quietly, firmly, by those who refuse to give away their control. And that moment of claiming it begins when you stop pointing fingers and start lifting your own hands to do the work. You might be right in saying someone hurt you, underestimated you, or blocked your way. Yes, maybe they did. But still, your life, your future, your potential, none of it belongs to them. If someone else's choices are steering your path, it's only because you let go of the wheel. Power over your life can only be given, it cannot be taken. So take it back. Responsibility has been misunderstood. We speak of it as a burden, as something heavy to carry, but in truth, it is a key. It doesn't weigh you down, it unlocks the gates. It says, I am no longer waiting. I am not blaming. I am not hoping for rescue. I choose to act. I choose to lead. I choose to rise. When you accept that everything ahead depends on what you do next, you are no longer a passenger in your own story. You are the one writing it. Picture yourself at a fork in the road. One path is lined with excuses, reasons why it didn't happen, why it's not your fault, why life is unfair. The other is marked by ownership, the hard, humbling choice to take full command of your direction. Now ask yourself honestly, which road do you believe leads to greatness? Which path leaves you stronger, wiser, more fulfilled? If your life were a novel, would you be the hero who overcomes, adapts, and shapes their destiny? Or would you be the victim who only reacts, waits, and watches as the story unfolds without them? You may not get to write every circumstance, but you do get to choose how you respond. And that choice is more powerful than you realize. You are not defined by what happens to you. You are defined by what you do about it. That truth may feel daunting, but it is also incredibly freeing. It means no one, not your past, not your mistakes, not even your enemies, can keep you from building something remarkable. So stand in that truth. Let it fuel you. Let it silence every excuse you've ever clung to. Because once you stop giving away your power, once you fully own your role in shaping your future, there is no limit to what you can become. No ceiling, no boundary, just a wide, open road waiting for the person who dares to say, "It's mine to build." 6. You must cultivate discipline daily. Every person whose name you know, whose story inspires you, whose work endures beyond their lifetime, shares one common thread. They showed up every day, not just when it was easy, not only when it was exciting, but especially when it was dull, hard, inconvenient, and thankless. The truth that shapes all greatness is not intensity, it is consistency. The world celebrates the loud moments, the dramatic wins, the bold declarations, but the future is not built on those peaks. It is shaped in the quiet hours, in the repeated efforts, in the steady grind no one else sees. Discipline has long been misunderstood. People think it means rigidity, suffering, self-denial, but that's not discipline, that's punishment. True discipline is permission. It gives you permission to transcend your impulses, to ignore distractions that do nothing for your future, to hold fast to a promise you made to yourself long after the feeling that sparked it has faded. Discipline liberates you from the trap of waiting for motivation. It frees you from being at the mercy of how you feel, because feelings change. Discipline endures. Of course you'll be tired. That's part of the deal. You're not the first to feel exhausted. Every inventor who changed the world, every poet who moved hearts, every pioneer who stepped into the unknown, each one felt the weight of fatigue. They had days when they wanted to quit, but they didn't. They rose early while the world slept. They worked late when others relaxed. They pushed forward one step further than what comfort allowed, and in those unseen, uncelebrated moments, they laid the bricks of a legacy that others now revere. Now consider your own life. If you began each morning with a quiet promise to move forward, to learn, to build, to grow, would you honor it? Would you keep that commitment when it stopped feeling exciting? Or would you trade that progress for one more hour of sleep, one more scroll through distraction, one more excuse dressed as rest? Every day offers you that choice, and though the answer may seem small in the moment, repeated over time, it becomes your life. Imagine the power of doing what's necessary daily, regardless of your mood or the attention it earns. No perfect moment will come to rescue your dream. No applause will echo through your room while you work in solitude. But if you act anyway, if you show up when no one is watching, you begin to reshape your reality. You become trustworthy to yourself. You prove that your goals matter, not just when it's convenient, but when it's costly. Ask yourself now, what could you become if your daily actions matched your deepest ambitions? If you stopped treating your dreams as distant wishes and started honoring them as present responsibilities? Most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack consistency. They chase momentum instead of building it. But momentum is born from repetition, from doing the work day after day until your habits become part of who you are. Discipline is the quiet architect of all achievement. It is the invisible bridge between where you are now and where you dream to be. Every step taken in discipline is a vote for the future you want. And though the path may be slow and the work often unseen, the results compound. The transformation comes, and one day those daily decisions will amount to something remarkable, not because of one explosive effort, but because you refused to stop showing up. 7. You must learn from every setback. What many people call failure is often nothing more than life offering a new direction, a new insight, or a deeper truth. It may arrive dressed in disappointment, wrapped in frustration, or masked as defeat, but beneath all of that, it carries something invaluable: feedback. the kind that doesn't come from books or lectures, but from raw, lived experience. That so-called failure may sting, it may rattle your pride or slow your steps, but if you listen closely, it has something to say. And if you are wise enough to hear it, you can turn even the roughest stone into something brilliant. You've stumbled before. You've fallen short of goals you held close. You've made plans that didn't unfold the way you hoped. So has every person who has ever created something meaningful. The ones we remember, the ones who leave behind a trail of inspiration, aren't those who never failed. They are the ones who refused to walk away empty-handed. They didn't let the fall define them. They asked the better question, what can this teach me? That question, small as it may seem, is the fork in the road. It separates those who surrender from those who grow. Hardship is inevitable. There is no version of greatness that doesn't pass through difficulty. You can't avoid the sting of disappointment, and you can't guarantee success on your first or even your fifth attempt. But what you can promise is that the pain will not be wasted, that you will rise from the setback with something more than just bruises. You'll rise with insight, with wisdom earned, not given, because every setback carries a lesson. It may not announce itself loudly, and it won't always make sense in the moment, but it is there, embedded in the experience, waiting for you to be ready to understand it. Think back to a moment in your own life when things went wrong. Maybe you lost something. Maybe someone let you down. Maybe a door slammed shut just when you thought it was about to open. At the time, it might have felt like the end of a dream, but now, from a distance, perhaps you can see what it gave you. Maybe it forced you to grow in ways comfort never could. Maybe it gave you resilience or humility or a sharper sense of direction. What once felt like a curse may now look like a turning point. Imagine what your life would look like if failure no longer frightened you. If you saw it not as an end, but as a tool, a teacher, a stepping stone. What if you didn't just survive your mistakes, but used them? What if every fall forward brought you closer to strength, not further from success? The real question is, are you willing to look again at the moment you once called failure? Are you brave enough to turn it over in your hands and ask, what did this come to teach me? That question alone has the power to shift everything, because nothing is wasted unless you waste it. No setback is final unless you decide it is. In the end, the most successful people are not those who never fall, but those who never fall for nothing. They fail forward. They build from the rubble. They let adversity refine them rather than reduce them. That power is available to you too. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to learn. 8. You must live with integrity. You cannot build anything lasting, anything worthy on a cracked foundation. The same applies to your life. You may climb for a time through charm, talent, or luck. You may impress, influence, or succeed in flashes, but none of it will hold unless it rests on something solid. And that solid thing, the only force strong enough to bear the weight of greatness, is integrity. Integrity is quiet. It doesn't shout. It doesn't seek recognition. It is the steady decision to do what's right, even when no one is looking. It is the internal compass that points to truth when falsehood would be easier. It's in the choice to stay honest when a lie might save your image. It's in the refusal to cut corners, even when the shortcut seems invisible. Integrity is not a performance. It is a way of being, a foundation so sure that it doesn't shake when the storms come. Every decision you make, every small action when no one is watching, is shaping your foundation. One choice at a time. You are either building something strong, or you're creating fractures that will one day give way. You may think the little things don't matter, that what no one sees won't hurt, but that's the lie. Because over time, all those little things add up to who you are. They become your character. And character, unlike image, cannot be faked forever. Have you ever known someone whose word you trusted without hesitation? Someone whose presence calmed you because you knew they would do the right thing, even if it cost them? That kind of trust is rare, but it's also the mark of true power. Be that person. Be the one others can lean on. Be the one you can be proud of, even in solitude. When your actions match your values, and your words carry truth, you walk lighter, you walk taller. You don't have to remember lies or dodge truths or live in fear of being discovered. There is enormous peace in having nothing to hide. That is not weakness, it is profound strength. We live in a world often obsessed with perception. People are trained to polish their image, to brand their identity, to gain likes and approval. But reputation alone is not enough. Reputation may open a door, may get you invited into rooms, but only character will let you stay there. It's what people say about you when you're not around. It's what remains long after the applause fades. Ask yourself honestly, are you someone others can trust without question? Are you living in a way that your past can't threaten your future? Are you proud of the choices you make when no one else will ever know? It is tempting, in a world that rewards quick wins and shiny appearances, to believe you can take a shortcut, that you can grab what you want and clean up later. But here is the truth that time always proves. What you gain without honor, you will lose without warning. The empire built on a lie crumbles in silence. The success earned by deceit vanishes in an instant. But what you build with integrity lasts. It carries weight. It inspires trust. It attracts opportunity. So choose the long road. Choose truth. Choose the kind of life that needs no apology, no disguise, and no cover story. Because in the end, what's built on integrity is built to endure. 9. You must pursue passion with purpose. Your work is more than the hours you log or the paycheck you earn. It is the imprint you leave on the world, the echo of your effort, the extension of your soul into something visible and lasting. When done with presence and care, it becomes more than routine, it becomes an offering, something sacred, a daily testament to who you are and what you value. But passion alone does not carry it. Fire without focus only burns. Wind without direction only wanders. Your passion must be aimed. It must be harnessed. Only then does it become power. So many live lives of quiet compromise, not because they lacked ability, but because they silenced their inner calling before it had the chance to speak. They buried what thrilled them in favor of what pleased others. They exchanged the boldness of their spirit for the comfort of the expected. They let their hunger be tamed by the fear of judgment. And as a result, they walk through their days uninspired, diligent perhaps, but detached, efficient, but empty. But that does not have to be your story. You are not here to merely fulfill a role. You are not meant to check boxes and call it a life. Somewhere inside you is a thread of longing, a signal pointing you toward the work that matters most to you. What quickens your pulse? What would you pour yourself into even if no one noticed, even if no applause followed? That spark is not a distraction. It is a direction. It is your soul trying to speak through the noise. Imagine a life where you rise not out of obligation, but from a sense of purpose, where your energy is not drained but multiplied by the meaning in your actions, where your work, however simple or grand, becomes an act of expression, of contribution, of creation. Imagine the satisfaction of knowing that what you do and how you do it leaves something better behind. But don't mistake raw passion for a plan. Passion without discipline is noise. It is unchanneled energy that exhausts rather than builds. And likewise, work done without heart becomes a grind, a gray blur of duty stripped of soul. The life of fulfillment is not found in either extreme, but in the meeting point between purpose and practice, between what you love and how you live. Structure gives your fire a furnace to burn in. Passion gives your structure breath and warmth. So now I ask you, what are you building with your life? Not just with your tools or your time, but with your intention. Who are you becoming through the work of your hands? Because your work is shaping you as much as it is shaping the world. Every choice to engage or ignore, to care or to coast, to speak or to stay silent, it's all building something, whether you realize it or not. You were not born to simply pass time. You were born to ignite it, to set your days on fire with meaning, to take what's in you and give it form through effort, through craft, through purpose. The world does not need more people clocking in and out. It needs more people waking up with conviction, more people doing what they love with excellence, more people who understand that their work, when done with heart and aim, becomes their legacy. Let your work matter. Let it speak. Let it burn bright. And 10, you must leave a legacy. You are here for only a short while. A flicker in the grand sweep of time, a breath in the endless span of history. And yet, what you choose to do with your days, how you live, love, give, and grow, can echo far beyond your years. The world may forget your face, your voice, even your name, but the impact of your choices, the shape of your example, can live on in others long after you are gone. We often think of legacy as something reserved for the wealthy or the powerful. Presidents, artists, entrepreneurs, those whose names end up in books or carved into marble. But legacy has never been about wealth or status. It's not measured in square footage, headlines, or bank accounts. Legacy is not about statues. It's about seeds. It is the invisible yet powerful influence you leave behind in hearts, habits, and ideas. It's the integrity with which you live, the kindness you extend, the standard you set, the spark you ignite in someone else's journey. That is legacy. Every single day you are writing a story. Each morning you wake up, another page begins. With every choice, every word spoken, every effort made or avoided, you shape your chapter. This is not metaphor, it is reality. Because one day you will no longer be here to turn the pages, and someone else, your child, your friend, a stranger who crossed your path, will read what you left behind. They'll trace your footsteps, draw wisdom from your decisions, or learn caution from your mistakes. Your story will not disappear. It will live on through the people you influence. Pause for a moment and think of someone who helped shape your own life. Someone who inspired you, challenged you, or loved you in a way that changed your direction. Maybe they were a teacher, a parent, a friend, or a quiet stranger who offered you a kind word on a hard day. Perhaps they never knew how deeply they touched you, but their words stayed, their actions echoed, their presence lit something in you. That's legacy. And now the question turns to you. Who will say that about you? The truth is, your legacy is not waiting for you at some distant finish line. It doesn't begin with a eulogy or an obituary. It begins now. It begins with how you treat the person next to you, with how you show up when no one is watching, with how you spend your time, and what values you choose to carry forward. Every moment is a chance to add a sentence, a paragraph, a lesson to your story. Every moment holds the opportunity to plant something in someone else's life, something that may bloom long after you're gone. Imagine living your life with that kind of awareness. Not a fear of being watched, but a reverence for the power of your influence. What if you lived knowing that someone was learning from you every single day? A child watching your resilience, a friend observing your honesty, a colleague inspired by your work ethic, a stranger moved by your kindness. What if your life became the reason someone else didn't quit, didn't settle, didn't let go? This is not about perfection. You do not need to live a flawless life to leave a meaningful legacy. What matters is that you live with intention, that you learn from your mistakes, that you keep returning to your values even when it's hard, that you offer love when it's easier to turn away, that you speak truth when silence feels safer. Your legacy is built in the small, consistent choices, the kind no one sees but everyone eventually feels. Legacy isn't about being remembered by millions. It's about being remembered by someone, by those closest to you, by those who needed you. You may never know how far your influence travels, but trust that it does. One act of courage can ripple through generations. One act of forgiveness can heal a line of pain. One spark of belief can awaken greatness in another soul. Your life carries weight, even if the world doesn't always acknowledge it. So I ask you now, what will you leave behind? Not in your will, but in your wake. Will it be a trail others can follow? A light in the distance for someone who feels lost? Will it be the sound of laughter you shared? The wisdom you passed down? The example you lived even when no one thanked you for it? Legacy does not begin with what you own. It begins with who you choose to be today. Not someday, not once you've achieved more, earned more, or figured everything out. Right now, in this very moment, you are shaping the future through the person you are becoming. So make it count. Live in a way that the world feels your presence long after your footsteps fade, because you are here for a short while, but your influence can be eternal.